Authority members: Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Mincy.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Najarian.
Here. May we have your report?
The agenda for the January 19, 2010 joint public meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, January 14, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Mr. Starburn.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the agency and the authority, I'll go to Phil Lansfame, Director of Community Development and Housing, for the staff report. Phil.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. City Manager and Mr. Mayor, if I may interject and read it into the record for the public. At one is a public hearing, Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing, regarding resolution on necessity declaring public need to acquire a 5-foot easement through eminent domain for property located at 820 South Maryland Avenue. Actions before you at 1A is council resolution declaring public interest and necessity to condemn easement interests in certain real property located at 820 South Maryland Avenue and making findings in support thereof. At B is council motion approving a deposit to the court in the amount of $17,500 from the CDBG East Garfield Neighborhood Improvement Fund for the purpose of obtaining an order of prejudgment possession in an eminent domain action. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, members of the agency and the Housing Authority, this is an item to acquire a 5-foot easement over 50 feet, so the total is 250 square feet. The report has been prepared, and I'll ask the Housing Project Manager, Mike Fortney, to give you a brief presentation on the required items for this resolution.
While he's coming to the podium, I'll open the public hearing.
Good afternoon.
Name for the record.
City Council members, Housing Authority Board members. I'm Mike Fortney, the Housing Project Manager. I'm here to present this item. To give you a little bit of background, the East Garfield neighborhood was identified by the City Council and the Housing Authority as an area in need of rehabilitation. From that came the East Garfield Neighborhood Revitalization Project. The project has a number of components, including the mini park at 810 to 816 South Maryland, as well as an affordable housing project at 303. It will be at 303 East Garfield. That project is nearing completion now. And a number of public improvements, including widening and improving the H alley, which is the alleys, 3 alleys, creating an H north of Garfield, south of Windsor, east of Maryland, and west of Glendale Avenue, as well as the reconstruction of curbs, gutters, driveway approaches and sidewalks, rather, ADA ramps, and cross gutters. So an important component of the public improvements is the planned alley widening, which will provide an alley of uniform width and appropriate alignment of the above-ground utilities, resulting in significant public safety improvements. In order to complete the alley 25, the H alley widening, staff has determined that a permanent easement for the easterly 5 feet of 820 South Maryland Avenue, the subject property, needs to be acquired. The easterly 5 feet of the subject property is located within the construction limits of the East Garfield Neighborhood Revitalization Project. A 6-month temporary construction easement over a 1-foot wide strip of land on the subject property abutting the easterly 5 feet is also necessary in order to widen Alley 25. The widening of the alley is a public use and one component of the East Garfield Neighborhood Rehabilitation Project. All other easements necessary for public safety and the alley widening have been acquired by the city, thus leaving the alley only 10 feet wide at the subject property. In order to provide for the safe use of the alley by the public and carry out the alley widening elements of the project, including relocating the existing utility poles, the subject property interest must be acquired. The subject property is 50 feet wide, making the total area needed for the permanent easement 250 square feet, and a temporary construction easement of 50 square feet. The proposed easement area is currently vacant and is only improved with a concrete pad and a chain link fence and rolling gate. The existing fence and gate will be relocated to the new easterly property line. No residential units would be displaced by the proposed acquisition, and it has been concluded that no injury will accrue to the subject property. Since October 1st of 2009, when the initial offer to purchase was made, there has been no progress in negotiating the purchase price. Prior to adopting the resolution of necessity, the City Council must make the following 4 findings. Number 1, that the public interest and necessity require the project. Number 2, the proposed project is planned and located in a manner that is most compatible with the greatest public good and the least public injury. Number 3, the property is necessary for the proposed project. And finally, number 4, an offer as required by Section 7267.2 of the Government Code has been made. And I can go into each of those 4 findings if you'd like in further detail.
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. I was Miss Rosenberry, who's representing the property owner, is in the audience today. She may wish to speak. She did complete a request to appear and be heard. So just to summarize, what we're asking for here is for the City Council to make the findings, necessary findings, and adopt the resolution of necessity for a permanent easement of the easterly 5 feet and a temporary easement of the easterly 1 feet of property at 820 South Maryland, and to approve the deposit of $17,500.
Mr. Mayor, just to tack on, what we're asking you today is a resolution of necessity that would allow us to start the process, as has been your policy for the Housing Authority, the Redevelopment Agency, and the City Council. We will continue to negotiate with the property owner and try and come to a negotiated settlement. But this is a step that we're asking to take so that we can move the project forward.
Okay, thank you. Is there a speaker on this item? Someone that wants to? Okay, you can come to the podium, and then you'll have to fill out a speaker's card and give us your name for the record.
Kathleen Rosenberry, owner. I just want to say for the record, Mr. Mayor and the others, that we are against this redevelopment. We understand the city is trying to improve in certain areas, but we feel that it negatively affects our future property value and is going to disturb our tenants that are living there. We've had a lot of tenants already complaining about the area with the crime and activity going on there in the back alley currently. And also we're just questioning the necessity. We understand the park is going to be put in, but the necessity of widening the alley, it looks to me, when I look at the photos, that the utility poles are already in alignment, so I'm just not sure, other than aesthetically, if it's necessary to widen the alley. There's not going to be parking back there. It looks like people are just going to access the park from the front, so we're not sure why that needs to be done in terms of the alley access.
Okay. Any questions?
And we are open to negotiation. That's why we're here today. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this item? Anyone else? Okay, you'll have to do the same thing. You come to the podium, give us your name for the record, and then you'll fill your card and turn it in to the city clerk.
Good afternoon. My name is Eddie Gonzalez, and I'm the property manager at 820 South Maryland. And just as you mentioned, our tenants that live in the building currently, they're concerned with the park coming to the neighborhood. If you look at the records, the crime has been increasing in that area. For the past month, there's been like 4 to 6 arrests, and with the park coming, I believe it's going to increase. There's a lot of different things going on around, and the police response, but a lot of times it's kind of late, and it disturbs the tenants, and a lot of them are concerned. It wasn't like that before. The alley, if it's going to be expanded, that area, it's unprotected. A lot of people fight for the parking spaces, and with the park coming to the neighborhood, I believe we're going to lose more parking spaces on the street. And besides that, we have to struggle with the dealers, parking their cars there on the street on a daily basis. I just want to let you know that the park is coming. I believe you guys already made the decision, but it's going to affect our tenants and neighbors around that block.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Ms. Friedman.
I understand the concerns of the property owner and of the manager. I understand the tenants being afraid of change and being afraid that the park would bring traffic concerns and crime concerns. It's my belief that the park will help to bring the neighborhood up and not the other way around. Right now, it's a vacant lot, which is certainly open to all kinds of criminal activity because there's no one there to keep an eye on it. But when it's a park, it'll be on the regular patrol for the police. It's also my understanding that one of the reasons behind wanting to widen the alley is to have better ingress and egress for safety, and that in the past, and I see staffs nodding their head behind you and around us, that in the past the police have had trouble getting into the alley because of the width, and that may have been contributing to some of the safety problems, and that by widening it, it'll be a lot easier for them to get the police and the other safety vehicles through, which should make it safer. I'm glad that you let us know that you're having problems with crime there. We will certainly let the police department know that there's problems going on now so that they can take some steps to maybe putting you on a regular patrol and dealing with that. So I'm glad that you came and let us know, and I'd ask staff to please make sure that that happens and that during construction that we both mitigate parking concerns for the neighbors as best we can, but also make sure that they're kept safe during all of this.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Starbird.
Well, some additional supplemental comments. As many of you know, the H Alley, as this is called, has been rather notorious for many, many years as an area that has had more than its share of crime and gang activities, and efforts that were begun well over 10 years ago in the Garfield neighborhood with additional housing support, improvement of the alley, and this widening along with the widening on the east end have been for the sole purpose of increasing patrol and visibility so we can more effectively address the issues that have been occurring in the H Alley. Again, the staff not so affectionately has referred to it as H Alley for a long, long time, and it has been very well known as a location where visibility is difficult. Patrol cars have a hard time getting down there and seeing what's going on as well as making the turn. So this all is in an effort, not just associated with the park, but for improving the visibility and ability for our patrol cars and traffic to get through the H Alley, really to specifically address the issues of crime that we've seen over the years in that location. So I think maybe if we had been able to have a better communication with the property owners, we could have conveyed some of that and maybe allayed some of their fears about this.
Any other comments? Okay, well, I'm going to add to what Ms. Friedman and Mr. Starbird said. Number one, I think it's going to be a tremendous improvement for the neighborhood, and I think be a certain amount of pride for the people that go to this park. For the property owner, the fact that you're going to be adjacent to a nice green space, it's going to increase your property values big time. I can tell you that without question. And then to the issue of safety and police protection, it's going to be the exact opposite of what you're worried about. The police cars will now be able to patrol those alleys, this H alley, coming in and out at will. So it's going to be a much safer situation in the not only your alley but the adjoining alley. So I hope now living through the construction will certainly be a little bit noisy, although it'll be more green and cement than actual carpentry. But once it's done, I think it's going to be a tremendous addition to the neighborhood on two counts: one for beautification and two for safety. So, and this is the first step. Do I have a motion?
I just have a question.
Yeah, Mr. Najarian.
For the city attorney. We are seeking an easement as opposed to fee.
That's correct.
To fee in this. And what is there a difference in what the value would be, easement versus the fee, or is it?
There would be. The appraisal is based upon the easement, which is essentially the right to use for, in this case, roadway purposes.
Okay. So we're not taking
the
away
underlying fee interest. The underlying fee interest would remain in the property owner.
So we're not taking away any property from Ms. Rosenberg. We're only taking use.
Taking easement is a property right, as you know. So we're taking that stick out of that bundle of property right sticks that they have. It's that use right.
An old example, but a good one.
It still maintains its value today.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll move 1A and B.
Second.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Council members: Freeman,
Yes.
Friedman,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Quintero.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming and giving us your opinion.
Move to
Next.
adjourn for the city council.
Second.
Okay,
Move to adjourn for the,
Yes.
move to adjourn for the housing authority.
Housing is adjourned.